I don't know what the heck the people think about money, but that's what I get a lot of, this kind of this, well, money's not spiritual. I'm just saying it's your attitudes, the person's attitude towards money. I make a lot of money, but I give a lot. You know what I mean? It goes to biblical principle, the more you give, the more you receive. So when I meet somebody doesn't have any money, it just means they're not giving something. So a lot of times there's people who would like more, but they're not giving anything. So they're like my poor dad. He belonged to the labor unions and he wanted to work less and get paid more. Well, that's anti-religious to me. If you want to get paid more, work more, give more. That's how I see it.
Well, I wasn't poor by most people's standards, but I came from a family with a poor attitude, if you know what I mean. Because rich, poor, middle class, poverty starts with a fundamental attitude. So I was in Hawaii, I was 9 years old. My father was the head of education, PhD, very smart man, good guy. And for some reason, we moved across town and I went to a school with rich kids. So this is a little town called Hilo, Hawaii. That's not on the map anywhere, but it is. It's a sugar plantation town. So when I was 9 years old, I moved to this rich kids school. And suddenly I realized I was poor because it's relative, as Einstein, it's all relative. And my classmates were mostly white guys. And I was one of the few Asians in the class. And these guys, their fathers owned the banks, they owned the plantations, they owned the car dealerships, they owned the meat packing company, they owned the ranches. And I'm going, how come my dad doesn't own that?
Well, most successful entrepreneurs have gone bust. Henry Ford, an old-time entrepreneur, he went bust 5 times. Look at Steve Jobs.
Yep.
His own board fired him. Bill Gates was taken before the Supreme Court for monopolistic practices.
Right.
Even my friend Donald Trump went down $1 billion.
Yeah.
I only went down $1 million. So the average person is so afraid of those losses, they never get ahead. Because at school they teach you if you make a mistake or if you fail, you're a failure. But that's not real life. A baby learns to walk by standing up and falling down, standing up and falling down. And our school system punishes you for making mistakes. That's why my poor dad, an academic, was so unsuccessful. He was terrified of making mistakes.
Invest in what you love. I love business. I love real estate. I really love it. I own this building here. And I love gold and silver. So I invest in what I love. Most people say, do what you love, but I rather invest in what I love. But I love being an entrepreneur. I love investing. It's like Shark Tank to me. I'm always looking at new businesses, new deals. It's just a game like this. When you look at the financial statement, that's like your scorecard. It's like your golf scorecard is your financial statement. But as you know, our schools teach us nothing about financial statements. So the reason I say only lazy people use their own money is because it takes much more intelligence to raise capital. And so I've never been able, ever since my rich dad, since a little boy, my rich dad forbade me from ever saying, I can't afford it. He says, figure out how you can afford it. How can you do something? Figure out how you can do something. So over my lifetime, most of the projects I've started, I've never had any money. I like not having money because it forces me to think. I get creative. I have to educate myself. I have to talk to rich guys. Hey, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? And what has happened to me, and I just turned 72, I've never needed money because if I need money, I figure out how to raise it. So today you guys have crowdfunding and all that. I don't know what that stuff is, but it's easy to say I can't afford it. All the poor people say I can't afford it. All the poor people say, well, it's taxed the rich. All the poor people are saying, well, give me a free education, free food, free schooling, free manicures, free pedicures. There's laziness.